So today we get to start fresh. Today is a new unit. And when we have a new unit, we get to go over vocab for a whole day. So super easy day on the first day of the unit. I'm actually told that a lot of you already learned these things in math before because now they're putting this into middle school math. So I might go quicker now because you've already learned this stuff. Woo! Okay, the first word on your vocab page, the first word is an old word. I want you to write parallel lines. And if you have markers or something bold, some colored pencils or highlighters or markers, I want you to write it in that. So parallel lines. We remember these as lines that are coplanar. They're in the same plane, but they do not intersect. The symbol for parallel is right here. M is parallel to N. And then you have to remember that we do not assume parallel. We never assume just because two things look parallel that they are parallel. So we have to remember that if two lines are going to be parallel, or if the directions say they're parallel, we need to mark it on our picture. Now, how do we mark parallel lines? We mark congruent segments with tick marks. We mark congruent angles with arcs. We need a marking for parallel lines. And I think I've shown it before. You just kind of go to your line, and somewhere in the middle of your line, although lines don't have middles, somewhere in the middle of your line, you put an arrow. Arrow. Now, if your picture had more lines, don't draw this. I don't want your picture to get too complicated. But if your picture had some more lines, and you wanted to show that those were also parallel, then you would use two arrows. And if you had another pair of lines, or three lines, doesn't matter, then you use three arrows, that kind of thing. So that's the marking we use for parallel. Some people, like the textbook, makes them bold arrows like that. So it almost looks like triangles. So no matter how the arrows look, it means parallel. That's what it means. Yep. Okay, next word. The next word on your sheet is transversal. So that's the next word on your sheet. Say it out loud. Transversal. So a transversal is simply a line that intersects other lines. That's all it has to do. It's not a hard job. A line that happens to intersect two or more lines. So that's what's really important. That's really the only thing I care about you knowing about a transversal. So if I just had two lines like this, A and B, neither of those are transversals. So to have the title transversal, it does need to intersect two or more lines. I tried to find a real-world example of transversal. I found like the jet stream of that one airplane and the other one. It kind of looks like it's a transversal. Although, to be a transversal, it does have to be in the same plane. And I doubt those planes were flying in the same plane. I bet they were skew. But anyways, let's pretend they weren't. Okay, so you need to draw a transversal onto your page because there is no transversal drawn. I'm upside down. There is no transversal drawn right there. So you need to draw a transversal yourself and call it T. Transversal intersects two or more lines in the same plane. So in this unit, literally almost every picture is going to have a transversal. That's what this unit is called. It's actually called parallel, perpendicular, and transversal lines. So transversal is in the title of this unit. When you draw a transversal, angles are created. Yes, Hatham, you're right. How many angles are created? 8 of them. There's 8 angles to keep track of. Now, if those angles are not named, then I can't talk about them. I can't talk about how they're related. I can't talk about which ones are equal to each other. We have to give them names so that we can talk about them. If everyone in my class was named student, I wouldn't be able to call on anyone because they wouldn't have a unique name. So we need to take those 8 angles and we need to give them vocab words. So literally, yeah, we're going to gossip about the angles. That's cute. So literally this whole day is us naming the angles. And it sounds weird. And you're like, we're not doing any math. We're not solving anything. That'll be for tomorrow. Okay? Okay. So now let's find out what we're going to call them. Let's focus on these first two angles. Let's focus on angle 1 and angle 2. We need to assign a vocab word to these angles. And what we're going to do is talk about their relationship in the picture. So in this picture, are they on the same side of T or different sides of T? Same side or different side? Yes. So they're both on the right. Agreed? They're both on the right. They're on the same side of T. So we're going to put same side in their name somewhere. Okay. Same two angles. Now, we've got lines S and R. Are they inside S and R, or are they outside S and R? In or out? Inside. So you literally just came up with their name. The first angle word on your vocab sheet, same side interior angle. They were on the same side of the transversal, and they were interior. They were inside S and R. So that's the first one. Same side interior. Same side interior. Your picture has a transversal, but it's not, the angles are not labeled. So you need to add these angles to your picture. 1 and 2. Those angles are not there yet, so you need to add them there so that you can study your vocab and where the angles are in the picture. So same side of T and interior. Same side interior. If you do ever abbreviate this, like when you're doing your homework or something and you want to save time, if you are going to abbreviate, you would abbreviate it like this. All caps, and don't leave the A off. Same side interior angles. SSIA. Okay, moving on. Our next set of angles are going to be in two different locations. Now we're going to talk about 3 and 4. What changed? Obviously. They're not on the same side anymore. They're on different sides. So are we going to call them different side interior angles? We're not going to call them different sides. What's another word we could use? Very good, very good. Alternate. So I know they're on different sides. I know you might think they're on opposite sides, but we're going to call them alternate interior angles. So that's the next word on your vocab sheet. Alternate interior angles with an A. Alternate. So these are on alternate sides of the transversal. One's on the left, one's on the right. And they're still inside S and R. They're still interior. So if we were abbreviating this on a homework, not on a test, but if we were abbreviating this on a homework, we would call them AIA, alternate interior angles. Someone was asking why are they interior, I think. When you're deciding whether they're interior or what's the opposite of interior? When you're deciding if they're interior or exterior, you kind of think of these as like a house, like connect them, or a building. Are 3 and 4 inside the building or outside the building? And they're inside, or a trapezoid. So interior means they're between S and R, and exterior is going to mean that they are outside. Okay, the next one is not same side exterior. We're not there yet. We have one weird word, and this word does not fit the mold. So one weird one in the middle here. Okay. If I look up the word corresponding in the dictionary, it says having or participating in the same relationship. Like corresponding positions would be like 2 soccer coaches at different schools. They have the same position, the same title, but they're working at different schools. So look at angles 5 and 6. So angle 5 and angle 6. Notice, angle 5 is to the left of T, and it's above S. Left and above. Look at angle 6. It's to the left of T, and it's above R. Left and above. So they are having or participating in the same relationship. They are corresponding. They are the soccer coach at different high schools. So that's the next word It's kind of weird. It doesn't fit the mold. Write it down anyways. Corresponding angles. They lie on the same side of a transversal in corresponding positions. So they're either both above or both below the other two lines. So in this example, 5 and 6 are both left and they're both above. So they're corresponding. All right, we're going to move on. Now we're going to get to the ones that you wanted to get to. So we've already done same side interior, and we've already done alternate interior. So we're going to do the same thing, but with exterior. Here we go. Next word, same side exterior. So make sure you label your picture in your notes. Same side exterior. So 7 and 8 are both on the right, and they're both outside of S and R. They're exterior, which is the opposite of interior. Exterior. 7 and 8. Same side exterior angle. So we would abbreviate this. And if you are choosing to abbreviate, we're going to use, yeah, it looks like C. Anyways, you're going to use all caps if you're going to choose to abbreviate. No capital, lowercase, all caps. Because they stand for something, so we want them to be capital. Corresponding angles, I didn't go over that. You're right. It would just be CA. CA. Corresponding angle, CA. All right. Last one, alternate in exterior angles. The only combo we haven't done yet. Alternate exterior angles. There, China. So 9 and 10 are the farthest apart we can get in this picture. 9 and 10 are not friends. They're like sworn enemies. They're as far apart as you can get. So 9 and 10 are on alternate sides of T. One's on the left, one's on the right. And they are exterior. They're outside of S and R. Yes, like you and Alex, sworn enemies. Okay, we've named them. We're done naming them. Now we need to identify them given a picture. So flip your paper over, or yours is probably on a separate page. We're going to practice identifying them on this back. Now, we are going to mix in the words from last unit with this unit, but only 2 words are coming with us from last unit. Vertical angles and linear pair. Those are the only ones who had theorems. They were the superstars of the unit. So those are the ones that are coming with us from last unit. So if I look at my picture, angles 1 and 2 are angles 1 and 2. Angles 1 and 2, Sharon already said it, maybe someone else said it as well. Those are a linear pair. That was a weird key, sorry. 1 and 2, those angles are not new to this unit. So don't try to call those corresponding or same side. Those are still a linear pair. Yes, that's all I want to do. Okay, 1 and 3. 1 and 3, good. 1 and 3 are corresponding angles. They are both to the left and they're both above. 8 and 4. 8 and 4. Alternate exterior angles. They are on alternate sides of the transversal. One's on the left, one's on the right, and they're exterior. They're far apart. So E for exterior. 2 and 3. If you're having trouble naming these, you always ask yourself 2 questions. Are they on the same side or alternate? 2 and 3. Same side. Then you ask yourself interior or exterior. Interior. And then don't forget the A for angle. Same side, interior angle. Y'all are all waiting for me to announce the next one so you can be the first one to type it, right? 7 and 3. Same side or alternate. Alternate. Interior or exterior. Interior. So that I and that E make a big difference if you are abbreviating. Don't mess that up. You should know what those words start with. Okay, what about 5 and 7? 5 and 7. What are those? Okay, so go through what I said. Same side or alternate. And 5 and 7 are same side. Then you go interior or exterior. Well, oh no, 7's interior and 5 is exterior. So they're same side, but I can't use interior or exterior, and that's when you know it's the weird one. That's when you know it's corresponding angles, because I couldn't label them interior or exterior. They're in corresponding spots. They are both on the right, and they are both below. You see what I'm saying? Right and below. Right and below. Corresponding angles. All right, 4 and 6. What's the vocab word for 4 and 6? Vertical angles from last unit. Vertical angles. And 5 and 6. Another linear pair. Okay. We're going to do one more practice with 16 angles this time. Now, what I care more about when I have 16 angles is I want to name the angle pairs, but then I also want to name which transversal is being used. And that's actually more important than just naming the angle pairs. Okay? Okay. 1 and 15. So, we look at 1 and we look at 15. Now, sometimes you have to, turn your head sideways because these are kind of oriented different than our other ones were. Good. 1 and 15 are alternate exterior angles. And what's the transversal being used? What line are they both touching? There's only one line. That's really important. The transversal is A, lowercase a, because it's a line. Okay. Next one. 2 and 6. 2 and 6. Good, Joseph. Alternate interior angles. And what line are they both touching? What is the transversal's name? C. Very good. 5 and 4. Good. Linear pair. And this is a trick question. What's the transversal? Well, last unit we had linear pair, and last unit there was no transversal. So there is no transversal for 5 and 4. To make these angles, I do not need a transversal. I just need intersecting lines. So you leave it blank. There is no transversal there. None. No. Nada. 0. Nothing. Okay. 6 and 11. What are 6 and 11? Good. Turn your head sideways, kind of. 6 and 11 are same side interior angle. And what's the transversal? B. Very good. 8 and 6. Corresponding angle. And what's the transversal? Y'all got it. We could stop right here, right? I'll go through the last ones really quickly. 9 and 11. Corresponding again. Transversal D. 16 and 4. Oh. 16 and 4. I wanted one like this. This is an example where they would not have a vocab word. Do you see that there is no transversal that makes both of these angles? We cannot name a transversal. So when there is no transversal, I have nothing to write. They do not have a relationship that we have named in our notes. Okay? So don't name those anything. I'm glad that one came up. All right, 12 and 14. Vertical angle, no transversal there. If it's from last unit, there's no transversal. And last one, 3 and 13. Alternate exterior angle. Okay. Oh, transversal. Transversal, what are they both touching? Both touching? It's hard to see because I covered it up with all my writing. B. Okay, next thing I want to do before class is over is if you do have the back of these notes, I want to use this right here, this exploring activity. And I want you to get a straight edge. It doesn't have to be a ruler. I want you to get a straight edge, just the edge of a binder or something. And I want you to draw a transversal through the parallel line. Draw a transversal. Please do not make it perpendicular, because that'll kind of ruin what we're discovering. Draw a transversal through your parallel lines, but do not make it perpendicular. Okay, so you have parallel lines. Go ahead and mark them. I'm telling you they are parallel. I'm giving you that information. You have parallel lines, and everyone drew their own transversal. Okay, there's nothing special about how you drew the transversal, because everyone might have created different angle measures. What we're going to try to discover, though, is which angles are congruent to each other. If you had patty paper, pretend that you did. What you would do is place that, it's just like tracing paper. You would place that tracing paper on top of your angle, and you would trace one of the angles. Then you would take your patty paper, and you would compare it to all the other angles. Let's compare it. If I compared this angle to this one, are those two congruent? No. Let's compare it to this one. Are those two congruent? No. Let's compare it to this one. Ding, ding, ding. That first angle that I traced is congruent to this angle right here. So I'm going to shade them. Okay, let's see if we can find any more that are congruent. So those match. Let's go down here. Oh my goodness, that's not a coincidence. Those are literally the same exact measure. Okay, what else? Oops, I didn't want to grab that guy. Grab that guy. Let's see, does it match that one? No. Does it? Oh my goodness, of course it does. Matches that one. So we just found that if our lines are parallel, all four of those angles are congruent. Okay, what about the ones that are left? Do you think the same thing's going to happen? The red, does it match the red? Oh, by golly, it does. They are literally the same angle in first spot. And, oh, check, check. Very nice. So if you were to use colors, if you have colors, do it, and shade your picture, you would realize that even though there's 8 angles, there are really only 2 angle measures happening. Now, if you knew one of those angle measures, let's say that this one was 70 degrees, could you find all 8 angles? Could you? So all the ones that are red or maroon, right, are 70. You're 70, you're 70, you're 70. But then what are the green ones? Do we know the green ones? 110, 180 minus 70, linear pair theorem. Cool. So if and only if your lines are parallel, then if you know one angle, you know all 8 angles. And we're going to study that more tomorrow. Okay, I want you to work on your homework. You're going to be practicing these vocab words, and you need to know your vocab words well for tomorrow's lesson. And the homework tonight, there's really no numbers. It's really just practicing your new words. All done.